So you just clicked on this video and I know what you're thinking. Oh, she's gonna say gaslighting or manipulation or give me the top 10 signs of narcissism. I'm not gonna say any of that. In fact, I'm here to tell you that the absolute biggest red flag has nothing to do with them and everything to do with you. Let's get into it. So we're gonna start today's episode with a story time. Specifically, the story of how I realized I had to walk away from someone who I thought was gonna be the love of my life.
Wrong-o.
So basically, I had manifested my very first boyfriend out of thin air.
And I have a whole other video on how I did that, so I'll link that at the end.
And on the surface, things were really good. He was treating me better than I'd ever been treated, and we really cared for each other, but something just didn't feel right. And I had this gut feeling pretty early on, but I chose to ignore it because deep down, my insecurity and scarcity mindset was telling me, oh my god, someone really cool wants to be with you? Don't mess this up. So I told myself it was just first love anxiety.
Move forward with the relationship, and
I fell in love. So fast forward to about 5 months into us dating, and I am in the happiest place on earth. Not in bed with my bae, not marveling at the world's natural wonders. I'm talking about Disneyland. With my mom. Aww. And at the end of every day at the Magic Kingdom, they do this huge fireworks show. And the theme is always something like, when you follow your heart, your wildest dreams can come true. And the fireworks are always pretty emotional for me. I mean, depending on where I'm at in my life, they always seem to send me a different message. And wait, do I sound like a Disney adult right now? Not at all. Okay, cool. Anyway, so I'm watching the fireworks and I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, I did it. Wanted to find love my entire life and here I am in my very first relationship, so why don't I feel happier right now? And then suddenly, probably because I was at Disney, I thought of myself as a child. The little girl I was before all the dating apps and situationships and YouTube advice videos, and I had this incredibly clear, vivid realization. She would be disappointed. No! She would be looking at me and saying, really? After all that wishing and waiting, this is what your great love feels like? Like a horrible pit in your stomach of deep uncertainty? And the thought of disappointing that little girl hit hard. And shortly after that moment, I ended my relationship. Hey there! If you enjoyed Storytime, please kindly smash that thumbs up button and hit subscribe. Thanks, Thotty! So what's the lesson here? The lesson is that the mother of all red flags isn't necessarily to be found in the particulars of the other person's behavior. Rather, it's to be found in your own head and heart. The red flag is the voice in the back of your mind that's already telling you, they're really nice, but I just don't feel excited about them. They're really cool, but something about them feels toxic. I love them, but deep down I know something isn't working. And I think all of us have been guilty of ignoring those seeds of intuition. That's why we go down these YouTube rabbit holes of what's a red flag, what's not a red flag.
should I stay with them? Should I break up with them? How do you know someone loves you? How do you know if they don't?
But you don't need any of that. Because the truth is, whether you've consciously realized it yet or not, you already have the answers. And all along, all you had to do was take a few deep breaths, tune in to how you honestly feel, and actually trust yourself to know what's best for you. And that's all you need to know. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Just kidding. There's obviously more. I mean, if following our intuition was that easy, we would all just be doing it all the time, right? And I wouldn't have found myself crying at the Disney World fireworks.
To clarify, it actually can be that easy, but only once you've unpacked all your other emotional shit. Keep watching.
The truth is that a lot of the time our intuition is coming up against insecurities, anxiety, societal pressures, past traumas. I mean, throwback to literally 2 minutes ago.
And I had this gut feeling pretty early on.
But I chose to ignore it. So how do we start to differentiate between our gut feeling and our insecure, traumatized lower self? Don't skip this part because this is so important to navigating a healthy love life. So let's say you experience a red flag in your gut. You get this strong intuitive feeling that you're not
Quite attracted to them, or they feel kind of toxic, or they're just not right for you somehow.
Most likely, you're going to respond to that feeling in one of two ways. One way you might respond is with scarcity and low self-worth. This might sound like, it doesn't quite feel right, but I need to not be so picky. There are so few good people out there. Or, they're not toxic. I'm just overreacting. I'm so dramatic. I should be grateful that someone wants to be with me at all. Am I right? Am I right? Oh boy. Now that's what it sounds like when your lower self is trying to overrule a valid red flag. Do not listen to that The other way you might respond to a gut feeling is with abundance and high self-worth. This sounds like they're great, but they're just not the right fit. And that's okay, because I know something better is out there for me. You know what? They are kind of toxic, and honestly, I deserve to feel safe and happy and certain that this is the person I want to be with. Because I'm that bitch. That is your intuition, your higher self. And that is the bitch that you should be listening to. But what if I can't tell the difference between that initial gut feeling and just like anxiety? This is a super valid question, especially for those who suffer from generalized anxiety or have a serious past trauma like being cheated on. And according to my research, there is a difference between anxiety and intuition. Anxiety feels like a ton of thoughts swirling uncontrollably. It tends to be fixated on the distant future or past, and it just feels like chaos, uncertainty, confusion. Intuition feels like a clear, singular truth. It tends to be focused on the present, and it doesn't feel like chaos, rather it feels like clarity. And here's the crazy plot twist in the research that even I did not see coming. Sometimes our anxiety can be triggered by our intuition. Wait. What? This happens when our intuitive knowing of what we need to do doesn't match up with what we feel we should be doing, or what's expected of us by other people, or even what feels easier in the moment. This blew my mind because this was exactly my situation. My intuition was telling me, he's not the one. But my should voice was telling me, but you're comfortable, and it would suck to break up, and everyone else your age is getting engaged, so... And the tension between those two truths created anxiety explosion. Yikes. God, Fairy Thought Mother, we've learned a lot about red flags today. Do you have any good news? Yes. The good news is that one day you're gonna meet someone and your intuition is gonna say, yeah. And I know this because I have close friends who are in amazing, deeply happy relationships. And in all of those relationships that I look up to, they're not perfect. I mean, they have disagreements, they have areas where they're not perfectly compatible. But despite all of that, they still know deep down in their gut that this is the person they were meant to be with. And isn't that the real fairy tale? I mean, isn't that the real magic? That despite someone's imperfections, you can still have that happy, peaceful, not a doubt in my mind feeling. And when you have that feeling, I can guarantee that you're not gonna go searching on YouTube for what the biggest red flag is. Because when you find that relationship that is truly healthy and honestly right for you, you'll just know. Be sure to hit subscribe and smash that like button. And see The New Little Mermaid in theaters May 26th. Sure.